Collingwood and the trade period. The Pies have seen great success in recent times. Darcy Cameron was a diamond in the rough, Bobby Hill turned Mr. Norm Smith, Lipinski's been improving, Tom Mitchell was that missing piece in the midfield, and Billy Frampton has even had his moments. But now, it's time to dive into the enamouring trade period to scout the league for players to keep the Pies' pursuit to remain in the premiership window alive. Surely this window is within its consummation period. Do we find someone to help Darcy Moore, who has been struggling throughout 2024? Do we need another midfielder to alleviate the burden that Nick Dacos is carrying in the midfield? Is it time to look for the next Myercheck? Better yet, the Pies haven't had a true key tall forward since the likes of your Travis Cloakes. Is it time to go all in on someone with similar stature? It's time to talk everything to do with trades that the Pies might consider indulging in over the next 24 months. Go Pies. We must not waste any more time. You saw the introduction. Let's talk some of the trade options that Collingwood have in the upcoming 24 months. So just to knock these ones out of the way, as far as players that were on our list but have since signed on at their current clubs, we're looking at players like Sam Taylor from GWS, who we were looking at. It was a long shot. He was a Western Australian player. However, he's signed on for 7 years at GWS, so cross that one off your list. Logan McDonald, after his clutch miss against Fremantle, he signs on for 4 years and garnered interest from ourselves and the Dockers, not to beat. And finally, Elliot Yeo decides to be an Eagle for life, signing on for 3 years at the Eagles. So the Eagles essentially just looking after Elliot Yeo for persevering through COVID and everything else in between. All right, let's look at the midfielders. Firstly, we're going to go straight into one of the form players of the competition in Luke Davies-Uniacke. When I think LDU, what type of replacement is he for the Collingwood Football Club? He's sort of like a Pendle's replacement with a bit more speed, but a little less polish, if that makes sense. Do you agree with that one? He's currently top 15 for coaches' votes in the league, polling 48 coaches' votes, and has finally returned to his mean performances relative to last season. So he hasn't necessarily improved based on last year's stats, but I'll tell you what he is improving. He's being a part of a winning team recently. So who knows where the final 6-7 rounds could take LDU and North Melbourne. But I think if there's a player who should be on the top of our hit list, it's probably someone like LDU. But once we get through this list, we'll talk about picking and choosing from the list, because the good thing is we have a bunch of players to choose from. It's just a matter of getting the right ones to ensure they fit our salary cap and to ensure also we have the right picks. And we're reserving picks for the likes of Thomas McGuan in the draft next year as a father-son prospect for Collingwood. Moving on to Bailey Smith, that one's been talked about till the cows have come home. He's still a chance. Obviously, the Hawks are chasing him quite desperately. That ACL is going to lower his key stocks, but it's still probably going to cost a top 10 draft pick for any team that decides to take the gamble on Bailey Smith. Another player that has piqued our interest in recent times is someone like Sam Berry from the Adelaide Crows. What type of player does he, replicate from Collingwood? We're looking at Tom Mitchell. He also would be direct competition with the likes of your Lockie Sullivans, Ned Long, and Finlay McRae. However, I could argue Sam Berry probably has more potential than all of those players right now. And we've seen everything from McRae, and we've seen quite a lot from Sullivan. I'm pretty confident I could suggest that Sam Berry may have more potential than these guys. Sam Berry at the Crows has been in and out of the side this year, been a sub, not selected, starts here and there, lack of continuity, but he's a tackling machine and a contested ball. He actually played quite a bit in his first 2 seasons within the AFL, and the last 2 years has sort of dwindled off. So that's an interesting observation if it means anything. And then an interesting note from the season thus far, he's currently spent 46% time on ground this season, but he's still averaging 12 disposals, 7 contested possessions, 3 clearances, and 4 tackles. And what's more interesting, it still rivals some of his previous seasons where he spent more time on the ground. So that's a positive sign to show that when Sam Berry does come on for the Crows as a sub, he still finds a way to have an impact. As far as the midfielders are concerned, that's probably as far as I would reach to other clubs when it comes to certain players in the market. So we'll move into the defensive realm, because that's a big conversation recently, particularly over the last couple of weeks. The first one is Mark Keane from the Adelaide Crows. Was initially, ironically, a Collingwood player and then got homesick, so went back to Ireland, and he's come back, and in his second year this year at Adelaide, he's been a silver lining for the Crows defensively. They've been incredibly underwhelming this year from a performance standpoint and defensively as well. But Marquine has developed into this really nice second key tall defender who can intercept, can play a bit of one-on-one, and use the ball quite well. So who would he be a replacement for? Probably Jeremy Howe. Not quite as good aerially when it comes to the intercept ability, but really good one-on-one and also a decent ball user. Typically, most Irish players are quite good with the ball by foot. Now, this player is on the top of my wish list. I don't know how realistic it is. He hasn't signed on yet, and he's arguably top 5 defender in season 2024. I'm talking about Mac Andrew from the Gold Coast Suns. He is better than Darcy Moore and will be much better than Darcy Moore if he continues to trend in the nature that he's going right now. So right now, Mac is equal tied for most coaches' votes amongst key size defenders. Currently has 23 coaches' votes. That's the same as Sam Collins and Stephen May. He's averaging 17 disposals per game, 3 intercept marks per game. He has dashing run off halfback. He's very confident. He's not scared to use his pace. He's not scared to use the ball and take daring kicks, and can pinch hit in a ruck if needed. And this guy can jump 3 meters in the air. It's unbelievable what I am seeing in the season that Mac Andrew has shown us thus far, and is a big reason why Gold Coast are where they are right now. And if they make finals, it'll be largely off the back of your Mac Andrews, your Sam Collins, your Matt Rouse, Andersons. These are the type of guys that are getting them through right now. And the next one that I've already mentioned in previous videos is Tom Barrass. I look at Tom Barrass in the light of a Nathan Murphy, but a bit better. He's an intercepting machine, top 3 in the league, currently averaging 3.7 intercept marks, and he's just eclipsed his games played for last year, which was 14. He now has 15 this year. So it's one of my, qualms with Barrass in the previous video was, can he gain continuity? Can he stay healthy? Can he stay on the field? And he's done that so far and passed in flying colours so far this year. As much as I'd love Tom Barrass to come to the Pies, I'm not sure if it's possible. He did state in an interview a couple weeks ago that it's hardly a story about the rumours of Barrass potentially leaving. He just says it's a case of a key position player nearing the end of their contract, and he said he would need the rug pulled out of him at West Coast for Barrass to even consider leaving. So it's not positive signs, but I've heard people whisper me sweet nothings and then, go on about their way and leave and find something better. We've seen it before. Now, a cheaper option, and I say cheaper, but he's continually builds on his game in 2024, and that's Josh Battle. And he's your exact Murphy replacement, but with better ball use. He's basically had career seasons this year and last year, both on par with each other, so consistency has been a massive feature in his game. Also averaging 3 score involvements per game, which is above average for a second key tall defender. And I say he finds the ball more than Murphy and is a better ball user. Murphy averaged 9 disposals per game, whereas Battle averages 17 disposals per game. So the Saints are looking for Battle to have the ball in his hands, and vice versa. Battle is asking for the ball to be in his hands. The only difference where I say Murphy's probably got the edge over Battle is in 2023, Murphy averaged 2.3 one-on-one defensive contests and only lost 18% of them. Battle has averaged the same amount of contests, but has lost 23% of them. So not a massive difference, but 5% in the grand scheme of things does make a difference. It just goes to show how unbeatable Murphy was at times in 2023. Harrison Petty from the Demons. I've got him down as could be anything, right? He's 25. His best seasons at the D's were as a defender. In the last couple of seasons, he's been tried as a forward. He's only scored 4 goals in 13 games this season, and really not having too much of an aerial presence outside of the scoreboard impact, which is already limited at that. He is born and bred in SA, so there is a chance he goes to somewhere in South Australia before he moves to another Victorian club. I do question his mental fortitude at times. I don't know. It's an option. I think we could get him for unders, considering how poor he's been this year. But just another player to consider in the trade window for the Pies. This one's extremely left field and highly unlikely, but I thought I'd throw him in for your consideration. Adam Tomlinson, also from the D's, 31 years old, in the twilight of his career, cheap as chips. Is he the Jordan Roughhead type of signing? He's had just 5 games this season, so he's been deprived of opportunity. He's a decent ball user. He's an okay intercept marker, can play lockdown. He's currently behind the likes of Tom McDonald, Jake Lever, Stephen May. And if Petty does remain at the Demons and returns to defense, then it's unlikely that Tomlinson will get an opportunity in the backline in 2025. So, look, I know Collingwood are getting older, and this will only make our list older, but I'm just giving you something to consider. And we're now moving on to the forward line. What do we do there? You've got Oscar Allen, who's still yet to sign on at West Coast. I know it's a far cry. He's homegrown. He grew up supporting West Coast. He's the co-captain. Stranger things have happened, guys. That's my hunch. Stranger things have happened, and I'm not counting it out. As long as he isn't signed on at West Coast for an extended contract, I'm still going to bring up this man's name because he is him. He hit 4 goals against the D's in a rather otherwise disappointing performance from the Eagles last week. Adam Simpson's just mutually agreed to leave the West Coast Eagles. Does it create a bit of instability? Does Oscar Allen want to come somewhere that is a destination club, that has a great coach, and would be surrounded by greats of the game like your Nick Dacos's, your Scott Pendlebury's as well? So, I don't know. I still entertain that idea. This one's interesting. Elliot Himberg from the Crows, another player who's been deprived of opportunity during his time at Adelaide. I say deprived. Has he been given many chances? Yes. Maybe Matthew Nicks just doesn't like him. It's a contract year for Elliot Himberg. He's 26, yet to prove himself entirely at AFL level. He's a ruck forward player who could possibly complement DC and support him in a ruck as needed. Is he a Mason Cox replacement? I wouldn't say so, because Elliot Himberg is still only 6'5", but has played roles in the ruck, and he's quite a big, bustly 6'5" type of player. So that's why I think he could do a decent pinch hitting role in the ruck if needed. So there's a player there to consider from the Adelaide Crows to help with our forward stocks. Finally, the last forward that I want to talk about is Cam Zera. He's a bit of a Beau McCreary mixed with a bit of Billy Elliott, but a watered down mixture between the two, and I say that kindly. The reason why I don't like this one is because Cam Zera does not play any midfield time. Like, hasn't played a single minute in the midfield this year. Why would we want another small forward? We've got Bobby Hill, we've got Lockie Schultz, we've got Jamie Elliott, we've got Joe Richards, we've got Beau McCreary. I think we have a luxury of small forwards. That's definitely one area where we're not short-handed. And to add another one there who's only averaging 1.6 goals per game while also being poor in front of goals. He's been poor in front of goals for the most part of his career, actually. So I'm not sure if I like that idea, but his name is floating around when it comes to the black and white trade window. Players, as we know, that have failed us or we don't think have the ability / longevity / consistency to fulfill these roles. We've looked at Billy Frampton. He's on and off. He's unreliable is how I would describe him. He's a bit slow and clumsy at times. Charlie Dean, I've got him in this list as one of the failed or disappointing depth players. In saying that, he's been dropped twice, which was, I would say, in unreasonable circumstances. I think Charlie Dean has more to show, so keep an eye on that. That one's not exactly a fail just yet. Lockie Sullivan's okay, but he seems to be just a depth player. Lacks a bit of speed. Sometimes a bit slow behind the pace of the game, the way it's moving when it comes to decision making. Finlay McRae, how disappointing has that been this year thus far? Jack Bytel played a game, he looks, there's a reason why he was delisted from the Saints. And then Reef McInnes, who, again, probably in the same category as Charlie Dean, he's done okay when he's been a part of the team, but for some reason, Fly McRae doesn't see a full-time opportunity for McInnes just yet. But that was supposed to be some of our bookends to hold us up and keep us going. But it seems like now more than ever, we need to immerse ourselves in that trade period in the next 24 months and continue to bring in players to keep us relevant. We brought in your Patrick Lipinski, we brought in Darcy Cameron, we brought in Bobby Hill, Tom Mitchell, Billy Frampton as well. And in the last 24 months, those players have been vital cogs in our quest en route to that 2023 premiership. So we've had some great success trading. Let's keep it going. Let's stay relevant. Go Pies.